Okay, let us start. So, on Monday we were talking about wisdom. I said that we're going to talk about from a broad base, then slowly we're going to narrow it down to our subject of faculty and also power as indriya and also as a bala. So I've mentioned that this wisdom, they have, you must know exactly where wisdom arises. In the sense that you must able to differentiate between what is just mere perception and the second level, what is thinking or cognizing or rationalizing. Then also you have to be able to differentiate between what is this cognizing and penetration of the mind, which is, as I said, is a special type of knowing. It's a particular mode of knowing. It's a deep sense of knowing. So, as I said, this mere perception is just like when we are doing things without us thinking, like turning on a switch, opening a door, like all these daily things that we do without us kind of like put a thought into it. It's just like a muscle memory thing. And we just do it sometimes without much of thinking of what is it. Because we are doing it again and again all the time. So that is more like mere perception. Then when it comes to like thinking, the knowing that comes with thinking is that you're aware of what you are doing. At least you're aware of what you are doing. In the sense that you sort of like, you know certain things to be done in this way. Okay, this time I want to turn on 3 switches. Not only 2, not only 1. I want to turn on 3. Then you kind of like, there's a thinking about it. There's a thinking about it. So too, like when you do a lot of other things, that there is a kind of like a thinking about it rather than just doing it only. So these two is mostly that we go on day after day till we die. But the thing is that the third one, the wisdom part is a special type of knowing that you can able to penetrate things even more clearer, even more deeper. If you take the simile of the switch turning on, but this time you can able to feel the hardness, the softness, the movement, the tension. You feel how the mind is like. Perhaps the mind is angry at the time, or calm at the time, or that time there's a greed at that time. Now you know things a little bit more deeper than what is just mere thinking. That is really happening. So this is important for us to differentiate them out, because when it comes to meditation, it is important that you know when to apply and how to apply this faculty of wisdom. Because also I said that as a yogi, you can have all the 4, first 1, 2, 3, 4, like faith, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. You have all these 4, but the 5th one may not able to arise unless you know how to exercise it. So therefore, when it comes into the meditation part, it is important that we have to have right way to arouse that mindfulness, first of all. To arouse that mindfulness. And I said many times, the moment that you have that mindfulness, the concentration by default, it will come together with the mindfulness. And the effort also by default, it will also come together with the mindfulness. And also the faith by default, it will come together with the mindfulness. So These four factors, they will come together. But the fifth one, the wisdom, is something optional. So if you must know how to arouse the mindfulness, one thing. And second thing, you must know how to arouse that wisdom. So also I gave you the example that the two yogis there sitting down there, just knowing, rising, falling, or in breath, out breath. And then there's nothing much anymore. Just knowing, just be aware. The mind does not run, the mind is not distracted. Is the mind present? Yes, the mind is present. Is the mind mindful? Yes, the mind is mindful. It's soft, it's clear, it's wonderful actually. When you don't apply wisdom, your mind feels quite relaxed, quite pleasant, quite okay. Yeah. So that type of noting, that type of way of noting is without or lacking of that wisdom factor. The mind is present, the mind is there. Or when they do the walking meditation, also the same thing. They walk right step, right step, left step. They know what they are doing, but that's about it only. The mind is present, the mind is not distracted, there's no thoughts coming in and there, here and there, So, but there's no penetration. There's no sharpness in that noticing, our precision in that noticing. So therefore, a yogi must also exercise the precision of noting, which is the wisdom factor of our mind. So you have to be aware, alert, to notice the hardness, softness, the lifting motion, the motion of moving, and how is it that how this moving is like, how is the pressure is like, is the pressure getting more, is the pressure getting less, is the rising, falling, is getting faster, is getting slower, is getting longer, this way, that way, how is the in-breath, out-breath is like, long or short, fast, it go exactly, you have to further see it, further penetrate it, what is really going on. Then only you exercise the wisdom factor. Then only the five faculties is in a way complete. Complete in that sense when the wisdom is there. Again, here, you cannot exercise wisdom if there's no mindfulness. Wisdom cannot stand on its own. It has to have the mindfulness has to have some degree of continuity. Then only you can able to notice things much more clearer. Say for example, when you are like every day like that, you are not really in a retreat, and then you go into a meditation. You're going to sit down, and then you want to quickly go into very sharp noticing. Then after that, what you will get? You get tension in the head. You get pressure. You get tightness here and there. When those things happen, then you don't feel like meditating. You want to give up. So a lot of times, people give up on this meditation is because of this unpleasantness, and the mind is not balanced. And the mind full of tension. That one also we'll talk about it in where? In effort and also during in concentration. So now we don't touch on it, but then everything is connected. Wisdom also connected to the effort. Wisdom also connected to the concentration. So they're all, in a way, they are connected. But anyway, we'll keep that for the effort and concentration. So it is important for us to differentiate that wisdom, and and we must know how to put it into our practice. All right. Now let us go to our sharing of the screen. Okay. Can you all see? Can? Okay, good. Now where were we? Yes. Okay, this one. As I said, this wisdom factor, they are foremost also, in the sense that they are they are the top. When you have the wisdom as the one of your strong power or your power or your inclination, then as I said, you can skip the jhana. I mean, not skip. I mean, you can have 4 rather than 5. Then even you enter into enlightenment. Also, it's faster than compared to those with the average mental faculties. It's because of the wisdom. Even when you enter into jhana, also your sharpness of your wisdom also makes you faster, because it's missing one consciousness here, the PR here, is the preparation consciousness. Now here, if you don't understand this chart now, or this thing does not really matter. What I'm trying to say is that the last on Monday is that this wisdom, because your wisdom is, if you are powerful, if you are very inclined into wisdom, then when you enter into realized nibbana, or when you see the jhana, then it's slightly more faster than other people, although it's just one consciousness. Now, now I want to go a little bit more. Here is wisdom and clear comprehension. We hear this again and again when we come into our practice. So what is wisdom and what is clear comprehension? A clear comprehension is wisdom. But wisdom does not mean is clear comprehension. Wisdom is everything. Clear comprehension is like a subset of a wisdom. We call it I put it in this, it's like a subset in a wisdom. When you say clear comprehension, like sampajanya, and a lot of times we use the word sati sampajanya. Clear comprehension is basically what we use during vipassana or satipatthana process, or satipatthana development. And especially the clear comprehension is connected to our postures. For example, the 4 postures: walking, sitting, standing, lying down. And you have to be sharp and it has to be clear. That when you are urinating, defecating, when you are wearing your robes and you take out your robes or your clothes and so on, when you are eating, when you are drinking, all these things, you have to do it with clarity and sharpness and thoroughness of the noting. So this is what we call clear comprehension. But we don't use the word clear comprehension as like when you are in samatha. Like in a samatha, we don't really use it for samatha only. Then we don't use the word clear comprehension. We use it more for vipassana and or satipatthana. Now, wisdom here, it also falls under vipassana, and also it falls under samatha. And also it falls under what you are hearing right now. Let's say you hear about anicca, dukkha, anatta. That also falls under wisdom. So here the word wisdom, as in what do you call that in Pali? Panya. As in panya, the translation, I mean, the root word is to know correctly. It's the root word of panya. I mean, if you know Pali after that they break the word pa and the nya and everything. So all come together. Is the literal translation is to know correctly. Not just knowing everything in the world, but it knows the thing that which is connected to reality. So here, including when it comes to wisdom, is also when you are hearing, but you're listening to the Dhamma talk and so on, things like this. So clear comprehension is basically for when you are doing the practice, and it's very small, specific part of it. Sometimes during the Dhamma talks, sometimes certain retreat, I use clear comprehension. Sometimes I use the word wisdom. I interchange in the play. But what is important during the retreat, of course, is how to apply these things into practice. So wisdom has far more greater aspect of compared to clear comprehension. Okay. Now, here the last week also I mentioned, last week, Monday also I was mentioning to understand intelligence between wisdom and normal thinking, cognizing and knowing. Just now also I talked about it and I gave a bit of this one. Now, wisdom is a special way of, let me move this. Wisdom is a special way of knowing, separate from mere perception and cognizing. For example, the penetrative type of mindfulness, as I mentioned. When the mind is very penetrative, when you say that you have a very penetrative mindfulness, that means wisdom is involved right now. Now we're going to go into a little bit more. Let's look into its characteristic. Here, when it says characteristic of wisdom is penetration of things according to their intrinsic nature or individual essence. Sabhava. We talk about individual essence or individual nature, or intrinsic nature, this sabhava. When we talk about there's three level, when there are three level of characteristic of an object. First of all, the characteristic of any object, whether it's mind or body, any object, the first characteristic they have is the intrinsic nature. That means here intrinsic nature, what it means is that wind element, for example, wind element and earth element, they are different. Because wind element, it signifies the motion of it, or movement of the material phenomena. Whereas when you talk about earth element, it talks about the hardness or softness of the material phenomena. So they are different. The characteristic is different. So here, wisdom here, in a beginning sense, it says that it penetrates, that you can able to discern wind element is this, earth element is this, hardness, softness is this, motion is this. Now you can able to differentiate them out. Or for example, when you notice the mind, or you notice that at one time the mind was, before that, just before, my mind was calm and clear. Then after that, anger arises. I notice the anger, and the anger is such and such a way. Then when the calm mind, I also such and such a way. Then you can able to differentiate between these two minds. And then that means you already penetrate into the characteristic of the nature, of the reality, whether it's mind or body. So that one, when you're able to differentiate them out, is called sabhava. Then when you go into a higher, deeper penetration, deeper seeing of things as they are, then the material characteristic or mental characteristics, they begin to show that all of them have arising, have sustaining, and have disappearing. It arises, it sustains for a while, then after that there's an ending of it. Whether it's mind or body, these is the second level of the characteristic of any mind and material phenomena. So that also is penetrated by wisdom. Then when you go even more deeper further into the development, then we begin to see arising and passing away. And all this arising and passing away, they are all none other than Anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca, dukkha, anatta, how all this arising and passing away being seen, being noticed in certain angle, in a certain way, then it's notice it as anicca, or notice it as anatta, or not notice it as dukkha. All this is done by wisdom factor. There's a wisdom factor that must be strong, that it can able to penetrate into all these things. So penetration of things according to their intrinsic nature. Okay. The function, the function here is to illuminate the objective field or abolish the darkness of delusion that covers the intrinsic nature. Here, when you, it's just like a torchlight or just like a light. When you turn it on, you can see things with your eyes. That you have a book here, you have a table here, you have a chair here. Then this is what it means by the wisdom. When that it is there, you can see rising, falling in such a way that there's a pulling, there's a pressure, there's a hardness, there's a this. Or when you are noticing, let's say, the walking experience. When you do a walking experience, then let's say you step down on the floor, and you step down and you feel, oh, there is a pressure on the toes there. On the heel, there's another type of pressure. It's different from the toe. You may not be able to describe it, but you can able to feel it. Then perhaps that while you're noticing this, you notice that the muscle on the leg, the calf muscle, there's some kind of pulling sensation there. So it kind of like opens up, or the whole place become clear, and you can able to notice what is going on with the process, mind or material process. So it means that illuminate the objective field or abolish the darkness of delusion that covers the intrinsic nature. When we are not meditating, or when you have never meditated before, let's say, then you're always in the delusion. But the thing is that we do not know that we are in the delusion. We think that we are intelligent enough. We think that we are smart enough. We do not know that the delusion just cover everything. It's only when we able to see further, penetrate into this nature of mind and body, then only we realize what is delusion and what is penetration or illuminating. Sometimes the Buddha used the word wisdom as in light, it gives you the kind of like a simile like light. Like they have the light of wisdom, and the light of wisdom is to able to make things that you can able to see things as they really are. But this is figuratively, figuratively they use the word light. And the Buddha used the word light. But there are some teachers who use this wisdom as exactly the word meant, light itself. It's not figuratively. What is that word? Suddenly it just disappeared. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the thing is that some teachers make it the word light as is the word itself as light. That is to say, when you meditate, you must create the light, That has changed the meaning, or literally, I mean. They use the word literally as the word light. That means when they meditate, they want to create the light. And when they create the light, they use this light so-called to shine onto the object of mind and body. And that is not meant by the nature of wisdom. This is not This is not the way of wisdom. It's not creating a light. This is a mental factor that is exactly that it can able to discern. But when you are discerning things as they are, the mind is quite bright. Yeah, when you discern the things, you can notice that as if like mentally inside, you're quite bright. The mind is bright. The mind is not dull. The mind is not foggy. The mind is bright. The mind knows things what is happening. So the Buddha used the word figuratively. It's understandable because that's what we can able to notice it. But there are, as I said, there are teachers who use the word wisdom exactly as literally as light, and you use this light to shine upon the material and this object. This is not the way. This is not a creation, but this is just a penetration that you must know how to develop it, and it will come. If you do not know how to develop it, you will use all kinds of way to achieve the wisdom. Later we'll see when it comes into the balancing part, and you use all kinds of wrong ways just to achieve that particular wisdom, So it is not literally the light, it is figuratively. So that is important to understand. Manifestation means when it comes clear to the yogi, then you see it as also as non-delusion. The word non-delusion, non-bewilderment, it's just another synonym with wisdom factor. Now, the proximate cause, the wise attention, yoniso manasikara, is mentioned in the Abhidhamma, but concentration are mentioned in the Visuddhimagga. Now, both also, it's perfectly all right, because wise attention, in a certain sense, you need to know how to practice. Then only you can put into practice. That means you have to hear what the teachers, the instructions of the teacher that's given to you, then you put it into your practice. That means you consider it properly, how to do it, and then you put it into your meditation, your in breath, out breath, rising, falling, your walking, or your daily activities, how to do it. Then after you consider, so in a way, wise attention also is important. Then here, concentration also in a way also correct, because when you need this wisdom to penetrate, as I said earlier on, all these four factors where your what do you call that? Your faith factor, your effort, your mindfulness, your concentration, all has to come together. When they all come together and they are strong enough, that means it builds up a foundation for the wisdom to arise. So here, when they hold on together by the nature of concentration, that means your mind is not distracted anymore, your mind is clear, your mind is ready, then you can able to notice things much more sharper, much more clearer. So both ways also, actually, it is possible for wisdom to arise. Okay, we're going to talk about this a little more, don't worry. How many kinds of wisdom? There are many, many, many kinds of wisdom. Here is just, I took the whole list out from Visuddhimagga under the wisdom part, and I cut and paste here. I don't go and think because there's just too many for me. And my knowledge is not that this one. So we need Visuddhimagga. So how many kinds of wisdom? Mundane, supramundane. The one is quite easy. Mundane means worldly, because here the wisdom is still tainted with asawa, or tainted with some kind of deep type of greed, or some kind of attachment or clinging. So mundane. Supramundane means connected with the path and friction. Supramundane. Connected to taints, free from taints. Also, it's the same as number 1 and as the 2, because mundane here subject to asava. Supramundane is free from taints. Accompanied by joy or equanimity. Here you need to know a little bit of abhidhamma. Yeah? How especially when you come in the kusala chitta, the first chapter of usually when they teach you about abhidhamma, to understand the chitta, then you must able to understand there are certain chitta, sometimes it's connected with joy, sometimes certain chitta connected with equanimity. Yeah? Also give you a example like in jhana also, certain wisdom connected with joy, especially like in the third jhana, in the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana also, from the abhidhamma point of view, then is connected with joy. Connected with equanimity is only the fourth jhana in the sutta or the fifth jhana in the abhidhamma. So all these things you don't have to worry about it. This is, if you know your abhidhamma well, then this one you may understand it. Defining nama and rupa, this one hopefully all of you know. This is your beginning of your vipassana. Because the whole thing is to able to define, to able to define this nama and rupa. Now, this nama and rupa, the materiality and mentality and materiality, this is the beginning where how our mind starts the journey towards liberation, towards nibbana. By seeing it as nama, which is nama and which is rupa, not by thinking but direct observation. Number fifth one is easy to understand, but this is where I'm going to extract this thing out for the purpose of understanding the faculty and the power. What is learn, what is reason, and what is direct seeing. Here again, I have to emphasize that learned here means you learn about something which is correct, correct view, not just all kinds of everyday intelligence, everyday knowledge, not those type of things. It's connected to like karma and vipaka, because this is whether you are alive in next life, in the past life, is still it's a truth. You talk about dependent origination, that also is a truth. You talk about the cause and effect, you talk about 5 precepts, that is also a truth. You talk about gratitude, you talk about kindness, you talk about metta, these are reality. And you learn those things, they are part of wisdom. That is something that you learned. Reason here means you think about it. You think, you cognize about it, and then you know what is metta and what is upekkha and so on. Those by your own thinking. Even you think about anicca, dukkha, anatta, you think and think and think. That also by reasoning, by rationalizing. The fifth one is direct seeing. That means here is by seeing it directly. Here, it can come in with samatha object and also can come in with vipassana object. Okay, that one later we'll talk, because this one we're going to talk a little bit more. The sixth one, limited, exalted, measureless object. Limited here means our wisdom is limited in the sense of limited to the 5 senses. Understanding, knowing the 5 senses, connected with the 5 senses. Exalted here, connected with the wisdom, connected with the samatha jhana. Okay, measureless object connected with nibbana. And the 7 detrimental here, it's not really a wisdom, but it's go against wisdom. Detrimental. Improvement means when you do the wholesome deeds, wholesome actions, then it's improved. Detrimental, you do the unwholesome deeds, unwholesome, this one, detrimental. detrimental of the wisdom. Improvement of the wisdom, that means wholesome deeds, wholesome action, wholesome thoughts. Means, that means here, the means the skill, how to do it, how to improve, the this one. For example, you know wisdom is good, you know mindfulness is good, you know nibbana is good, but you do not know how to meditate. You do not know what to do. How to do this, how to do that. That means it comes under skills as means. Yeah. Knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. Here, again, like the understanding, basic understanding of the Four Noble Truths. Number nine, for analytical or discriminative knowledge. This one, I actually, this 1 to 9, I mentioned it when we talk about the clear comprehension that time. Number 9 here, discriminative or analytical knowledge. Here is called the Patisambhida Jnana. There are 4. This 4 analytical knowledge here, this 4 analytical knowledge here, Patisambhida Jnana, they are also, if your wisdom factor is prominent in you, then only you have this knowledge. If your wisdom factor is not prominent, that means this knowledge will not be with you. Okay? It is said that this 4 analytical knowledge, it is not able to arise anymore in this time, It said, according to a commentary, this knowledge already, the arahants that come with this knowledge is already gone already. The time has gone already. This is about 1,000 years or so, after the Buddha. Then before that, there are arahants that comes with this knowledge. It says after 1,000 years or so, then arahants do not have this knowledge anymore. Then they are just arahants only, but without knowledge, without this knowledge. But nevertheless, not to worry about whether they still have or don't have. Arahant pun boleh. Sotapanna also none already when I talk about all these things. But also it's interesting to know, because this is just like when your factor of wisdom is strong, then, as I said, you can skip 4 jhana or 5 jhana. Things like this. If so too, when your wisdom is powerful, then perhaps you may able to develop these things too. Patisambhida Jnana. Now, what is this Patisambhida Jnana? This Patisambhida Jnana here, the word Patisambhida means analytical or discriminatory or discerning in that sense. First, it called the Atta Patisambhida Jnana. Atta here, the direct translation is the direct translation is meaning. But then after that, when you say knowledge of meaning, then you also get even more confused. So I didn't translate it directly. It's the meaning here means your knowledge of the effects or knowledge of resultant. Atta Patisambhida Jnana. Number 2 is knowledge of cause. Dhamma Patisambhida Jnana. Here the Dhamma Patisambhida Jnana, if you translate again into English, it's difficult to translate the word English. Sometimes they use the word law, L-A-W, as law, knowledge of the law. Then if you are reading it, you also have no idea what it meant. Then third one is Nirutti Patisambhida Jnana, knowledge of language. That is more correct. The fourth one, again, this is also confusing. Patibbana Patisambhida Jnana, knowledge about kinds of knowledge. What do you mean by kinds of knowledge here? Here, the knowledge of kinds of knowledge that you must know able to understand whether a phenomena at that moment of time, is it an effect or is it a cause? You understand? Is it an effect at that moment or is it a cause? Because, for example, when you talk about hearing, let's say a process of hearing, you notice a hearing coming in. Then after that, the hearing coming in, then after that, you notice anger arises. After you notice anger arises, then you notice, oh, there's a lot of thinking coming in together with this one. Then after with a lot of thinking, your body also starts to move, and you see a process of it. Now, when you notice hearing, now this is for example, this is the cause, right? Then when the cause, it triggers the anger. Now the hearing is one thing, anger is one thing, because the hearing caused the anger to arise. Now, anger is the resultant of the hearing. Okay? Now it's the resultant of the hearing. Now after that, the anger itself is the cause for more thinking to come in. Then the anger right now become the cause. Then the thinking becomes the effect again. Now after that, the thinking itself makes the body to move here, to become fidget here, to you tense here and there. Then the thinking itself becomes the cause. Then the body becomes the effect again. So you see, kinds of knowledge and these things, they are changing during in our process in our mind. When we are noticing it, these processes changes very fast. It changes here and there, here, sometimes cause, sometimes effect in a very fast manner. Not like so slow, I just show it to you. So they can be very fast. So therefore, when they are fast, the mind also is fast enough to able to catch those things. Now, knowledge of language. What do you mean by knowledge of language? Knowledge of language means that you have the right concept, and also you can able to present it in your words, in your own words, that what you have seen or how you can able to connect what you think and what is the nature of the process that is happening. Now take for example, a lot of us, and a lot of times when we meditate, rising, falling, or we notice the state of mind and all that thing, then you know that you are paying attention to it. You can see it quite clear, that is the most important thing. But then, you do not know what is it. Hey, what I'm looking at it, right? What is it right now? You know that state of mind, but this is harming life. You do not know what is it. You know that you watch this sensation pulling in this. Hey, this is hardness as is softness. No, this is wind element or this is earth element. You can't connect your theory and your experiencing. Yeah. So knowledge of knowledge here is that when you notice something, when you notice what is happening in your meditation process, then exactly you know this is what, this is what, this is what, this is how is it, this is how is it like, and all that thing. This is what we call a knowledge of language, of concept. Then you can able to speak it out very clearly in this way, that way, how all this process all connected to somebody. Some people says that this knowledge of language, just because you know the word Pali language, then you have this knowledge of language already. That is very mundane sense. That's very mundane sense. Now, knowledge of effect and resultant also, in the more mundane sense, it's just like, again, like Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth is the knowledge of effect or knowledge of cause. Knowledge of suffering, knowledge of dukkha, is it a knowledge of effect or a knowledge of cause? It's a knowledge of a resultant. Then knowledge of the second noble truth, the origin or the cause of suffering, the word cause itself already. Then we know that it is the tanha. Then that is falls under the knowledge of cause. The third one, although we don't associate nibbana as an effect, but it is because of the fourth noble truth, noble eightfold path, that you develop this noble eightfold path as the cause that you can able to see nibbana as the third noble truth, knowledge of cause and effect. So this one, it's a bit difficult for us to understand. I mean, it is a bit, sometimes a bit easy. If I talk about it, it's quite easy to understand, But actually, when you do it, it's very difficult to understand. Because, for example, when you talk about even bigger aspect of the Dhamma, take for example, the five faculties here that we are talking here. Why only 5 faculties, not 6 faculties? Why not 3 faculties, or why not 2 faculties? Why not 10 faculties, or why not 20 faculties? Why only 5 only? It's not because the Buddha suka think about it, and then it's japabo sujo, sit down there, nothing to do. Think, okay lah, you just give 5 lah. It's not come out in this way. It is because that when they meditate, they see that the phenomena that is happening is in 5. Not because that it is come out, it is a knowledge, it's a direct knowledge that they can able to see that it is 5. Then Buddha presented it as 5. When they talk about 4 noble truths, when they talk about 4 noble truths, a lot of people talk, sometimes I hear the Dhamma speakers talk, say, why did the Buddha talk about four noble truths? Why only 4? Why not 5? Why not 6? Then they try to explain the noble truth in that sense, Well, the thing is that not to say that they are wrong, because this is part of it, intelligent, part of cognizing process. Okay, fine. But the truth is that it's because of this analytical knowledge that they have, the patisambhida that they have, that they can able directly see the 4 noble truths happen as a knowledge. They happen like a set of knowledge. They can able to see one thing after another, and there's only 4 only. There's no 5. There's no 6. Yeah. Again, like 7 factors of enlightenment. Sometimes people ask, how come faith not inside there? You think faith not important, man? How come faith, Buddha didn't mention faith in the 7 factors of enlightenment? It begins with mindfulness and so on and so forth. Yeah? Then here, again, the 7 factors of enlightenment is a set of knowledge. When you have this analytical knowledge, when you can able to notice them, they are coming as a set. Then when they see it as a set, they see how this set is processing, how one thing is affecting another, Then they see it because of their analytical knowledge, their patisambhida is powerful. Then they see it in that way. Now, this analytical knowledge does not just belongs to the Buddha. It also can belongs to the disciple of the Buddha. That means the 7 factors of enlightenment, or the 4 noble truths, or the 5 hindrances, or the 5 powers, or the 5 faculties, and so on, those things can be directly seen by those who are sharp in wisdom, those who have this analytical knowledge. You understand? Yeah, it's not something is just created from empty or from the air. So, because of this 4 analytical knowledge, that we have all the Dhamma, that what is that is being laid down to us. So this is important in a sense. But whether we have the power to achieve all these things or not, that is another thing. But at least we know how all this Dhamma and all these suttas and Vinaya and Abhidhamma all come down from. There's a book, there's one book in the Tipitaka also falls under, and I think Abhidhamma, I think so. Yeah. That this is called a Patisambhida Magga, the path of discrimination, the book. And they tell you there's so many types of wisdom and so many types of this one. And it says that that particular book, it's done by Venerable Sariputta himself. That particular way of this one. But whether it's true or not, we do not know. It is said. So this is one kind of how this kinds of wisdom. As I said, that what is more important is the fifth one. There are also another type of wisdom. Just to quickly show you, but we don't go into it too much. Just share with you another one. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hey, where do you go? Okay. Hey, I got to move this thing. Wait. Yes. Okay. Because one thing when developed and cultivated leads to the obtaining of wisdom, to the growth of wisdom, to the expansion of wisdom, to the greatness of wisdom, to the diversity of wisdom, to the vastness of wisdom, to the depth of wisdom, to a state of unsurpassed wisdom, to the breadth of wisdom, to abundance of wisdom, to the rapidity of wisdom, to the buoyancy of wisdom, to the joyousness of wisdom, to the swiftness of wisdom, to the keenness of wisdom, to the penetrativeness of wisdom. What is that one thing? Mindfulness directed to the body. This is the one thing that when developed and leads to the penetrativeness of wisdom. You see, again here, there's different types of wisdom mentioned by the Buddha. And there's a slight difference in the sense of, let's say, rapidity of wisdom and the buoyancy of wisdom and the joyousness of wisdom and the swiftness of wisdom and the keenness of wisdom, There's a slight difference in different people, different people who have wisdom factor is strong. Sometimes they can able to answer things very quickly. Very fast, their mind is able to connect very, very well. Some people who can able to penetrate things much more deeper. The different sense of wisdom in this way. So just to let you know, we're not going to go through all, just to let you know that wisdom has got its own different shades of different people and so on. Okay, this is in a Anguttara Nikaya. Which book already? I forgot. Deathlessness. Oh, where? Okay. Oh, this is the Book of One. Book of One. This is in the Book of One. Okay. All right. Let us go back to this one. Now, we come back to this one. That one, we put it aside. Because right now is the only time I think we're going to start talking about the balancing itself of the faculty. And we're going to talk about it this one also. But we just touch on this one a little bit more. A little bit more before we stop. Now, one is the things that you have learned. Two is reason or thinking. Three is direct seeing or mental development. And this one, many times I heard during in the Dhamma talk also that there are speakers when they talk about wisdom, they talk about these three. Usually they talk about these three. But the thing is that what I'm going to talk about is that the faculties itself that is going to connect it to number one, number two, number three, and how we can we without, if our mindfulness is not powerful or we are not careful, then we mix them all up, We mix all these things up, and that is where we get stuck in our meditation. Uh, 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 so this is where you come in with the practice only. Then only you understand these things. If you don't have practice, these things you will learn it as just as a knowledge only. So number one is learn or heard. Sutta maya panya. The word sutta here is heard, because during the Buddha's time, everything is heard and remembered, or learned. Nowadays we have books and so on. But here, as I said, learn here is the learning the right things, learning connected with reality, not just any worldly knowledge. That's connected with wisdom, connected to reality. Then is a wisdom that from heard or learned. Number two, by reason, by thinking. After you hear or after you heard, then you ponder over it. You ponder over it, that whether this is anicca, dukkha, anatta, or how is anicca like, what is anatta, what is dukkha, and what is five precepts, what is karma, and how is the effect is like, and you think about it. Now, this is all your reasoning. All you reason out, you think out. Well, it's good. But the thing is that the 1 and 2, it's also, if you not careful, because of defilements are sneaking here and there. Sometimes we hear wrong things, or even sometimes we can able to think and we think distortedly. As I said, some people who can able to read all the suttas and Abhidhamma and so on, but then after that they can have a deduction, their own deduction, their own reasoning, that there must be a self, there must be an atta, there cannot be anatta. There are also people who have that too. But what I'm more interested here is the third one, because this one is connected to our practice. Direct seeing and mental development, bhavana maya panya. Vipassana one, earlier part of the sutta I've mentioned, earlier part of the talk I mentioned how you have to penetrate into the hardness, softness, how the rising, falling in such a way, and so on. That one we'll talk about it more when it comes to the next talk. But now, just before we go, we talk about samatha. In samatha, where is the wisdom lies? Now, a lot of times we think that samatha has not much of wisdom, but no. Just like Monday again. So Monday again, I show you that if the progress is fast and not sluggish, that I gave you that one sutta for it, fast and not sluggish, and the 4 ways, the how fast you go, or how painful or how difficult your meditation will be, due to your hindrances or due to your faculties. These two apply to samatha too, This apply to samatha also. If you can able to develop the samatha well, then it's also because of your wisdom factor is powerful, not just only concentration. But samatha, that wisdom factor here, it may not be so pronounced. They're more towards slightly at the background, whereas the calmness, the concentration is more towards the foreground. Whereas vipassana is different. Vipassana, the wisdom is at the foreground. It's the chief, the king, So vipassana is more towards the foreground. Samatha towards the background, slightly a little bit. But it still play its role very well. Now, for example, when a yogi develops samatha meditation, sometimes yogis, when it comes to samatha practitioner of samatha, one of the biggest mistake people make, this type of yogis make, is that they don't practice mindfulness. I'm not talking vipassana. I'm talking about mindfulness itself. They start at straight away. You do samatha meditation. you want to go and look at your in-breath, out-breath, and very fast they thought that very fast they can able to go into calmness. This is exactly when your faculties starts to become less and less and less, and everything become empty, nothing, sit there, calm and peaceful, and nothing else. And they thought that they are doing samatha. Then samatha does not go that way. If your meditation goes somewhere that way, there's something wrong with your samatha meditation already. Samatha meditation is that you can still able to see the object of your meditation. That means when you do your in-breath, out-breath, make sure you can still see your in-breath, out-breath for quite a long period of time. Before the actual nimitta, the actual mental creation comes out. But when you know the actual mental creation that comes out, it also is still very clear to you, not like blur, there, not there, there, not there. Because of your mindfulness is strong, that means other faculties begins to develop also. That means you can able to hold your concentration, nimitta, clearly. But of course, those things come with practice. But you need a lot of mindfulness. So here, when wisdom comes in, it can able to differentiate out which one is the nimitta and which one is the in-breath, out-breath, physical in-breath, out-breath. You can able to segregate them clearly, which is which. Because if your wisdom is not strong, these two things as if like keep on mixing together, and it will take you a long time before you can able to separate these two, and before you can able to progress. It takes wisdom to separate these two. So too sometimes even before you reach nimitta and so on, that even you take up in-breath, out-breath alone will do. Then sometimes you will know that this time the mind is not so clear. Then you know how to push it a little bit more, how to able to arouse some mindfulness, and how to bring the mindfulness up, and you can able to differentiate again between what is a clear mind and what is not a very clear mind. The mind can able to differentiate because you have the skills and you have the way of how to develop, and that also involves wisdom. Again, wisdom when it comes into jhana, or when you want to enter, or you want to come out from the jhana, or how much you want to stay in the jhana. Here again, wisdom also is important in the sense that the mind can switch from just before jhana and how you enter into it, how fast you want to go into it, and that again you need that wisdom to be very swift, very fast, that you can straight away with a snap of a hand, with a blink of an eye, then you already enter into jhana. That is wisdom factor is powerful, that it can able to switch from one state to another state of mind. Then from jhana he wants to come out from it. Again, that also is wisdom. It's not like you go inside there, you do not know how you're going to come out. You still know a certain way of knowing is still there. Doesn't mean that you hit until jhana everything is zero. It's not all the time like that. You know when to come out, and you know when to go in, and you know how to later part also. You know how to jump from one jhana to another jhana to another jhana to another. So how are you going to differentiate one jhana to another jhana when you are become skillful in all the jhanas? And then here again is the wisdom factor that comes in, that you can know that this one is the first jhana, this one is the second jhana. You don't have to like Tanjay, let's see how many factor is there in first jhana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But no lah, wisdom factor don't do like that. It's just by the time he knows it already. This is first jhana. He knows the second jhana. He knows the second jhana by experienced by this one, he can able to differentiate them very fast. And then therefore he can able to jump from one jhana to another jhana. He want to stay with that jhana. All these things is wisdom factor. Yeah. It's not belongs, this one does not really belong to concentration. It's the wisdom factor. That's why wisdom factor is powerful. The progress is fast. Yeah. So it is so sometimes, I mean, we don't have much time to elaborate everything on samatha, because I'm more focused on the vipassana area, and it's important for us to understand that even samatha also, wisdom also are equally is important. So when it comes into a vipassana, now this is where our problem starts, when if we do not apply this thing properly. Just to give you an idea, so that you go back. No, you go back. You're already back. When you stop this, you can think about it. You can think about it a little bit, because you see, sometimes when you are noting your rising and falling, noting rising, falling, on, and the rising falling is changing, and then it's moving this way, or your in breath, out breath is moving this way, that way, and it's become very clear to you, which is good. Then this is where your direct seeing is taking place, which is exactly what is going on, bhavana maya panya. But the problem with some of us is that they start to think already, hey, this rising, falling, goes sideways, turning, this is anicca sibo. Or this breath is going this way, this is anatta. Or is it this is anatta? Then what do you think right now? It is begin to jump. You begin to jump back from direct seeing into reasoning. And you begin to drop your wisdom one level down, And it's so easy for you to do that. And most of the yogis will fall into this type of trap. And it's important that for us to understand that when we are observing, fully observing, then this reasoning, this thinking, you've got to push it aside. If not, if you are love to think one, love to reason out everything one, love to contemplate about the Dhamma in the sense that whether anicca, dukkha, whether this is first insight, second insight, third insight, fourth insight. This is this is one of your, can be one of your biggest problem, because, and therefore your development is going to be slowed down, and everything, once you able to reason out, to think first, kamguan already, baru puas hati, and then feel good, and then only you want to pay attention to what is going on. That is a number of people who do like that. They love that. And they don't realize that this, as I said, this thinking, this reasoning, very much to do with your craving behind it. The craving for becoming. Bhava tanha. Bhava tanha. So this one we'll talk about this one in the following this next week. So we're going to look into it a little bit more, and also we're going to look into it how this wisdom also, if you don't put it properly, you don't practice it properly, sometimes you over push it or under push it, then your whole faculty also go haywire. Not just only 2 and 3 only, but many other things also. Okay, we're going to look into it. So all right, so coming Friday we have a Q&A again. So if you want to ask any question about the Dhamma, then you can send it to Sister Hun Ling. The phone number is in the chat. All right.